For the past year, I've seen this quote on more sites than I can count. It states that more people have been to the moon than won on the game show Takeshi's Castle. I've even seen it pop up on sites like Lad Bible. It's a fun quote that tries to illustrate the difficulty of winning on the show, but there's one gaping problem with the claim. It isn't true. And no, I'm not some conspiracy theorist who thinks the moon landings were fake. There were far more winners on Takeshi's Castle than people who visited the moon. Don't believe me? Well, let me give you some education. But before we do that, you probably need to know who I am. My name is Joshua. I'm a Japanese game show fan. You may have seen or heard me in such projects as Max Fosh's I Found a Takeshi's Castle winner, the Ripley's Believe It or Not podcast, or any of the presentations I've done focusing on the subject. I've been interested in Japanese game shows since 2003, after I first saw Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. God, I miss that show. I have the largest collection of Japanese game show memorabilia outside of Asia. I've talked to over 60 contestants who've been on Japanese game shows. Japanese game shows are a part of my DNA, and I've created an archive to preserve their history. And all of the Japanese game shows that I've ever seen in my life, my favorite to this day is Takeshi's Castle. How much do I love Takeshi's Castle? This is a contestant information pack. It was given to prospective contestants who were cast for the show. It told them where to go, how many people they could bring along with their group, what kind of photos they were allowed to take, various technical things like that. This was never sold publicly. The only people that would have access to it would be contestants who were on the show. Well, here's mine. But if that isn't enough to prove how much I love this show, if you're wondering what this says, it says Gokaban Fun Takeshijo Specialu Zenkoku Seiha Fuyu no Jin 2. And if you want to know what that means in English, it's Deluxe Edition Operation Takeshi's Castle Special National Winter Battle 2. This is an original shooting script from the second Takeshi's Castle New Year's special. This was made available to cast and crew only, and yet I have one. These are just two of the many game show items I have in my collection, of which Takeshi's Castle is front and center. It's basically ruined my life. For those of you who may not be familiar with Takeshi's Castle, please allow me to quote the narration from the opening of the program. Music! Thrilling reality game show, Operation Takeshi's Castle. This heaven-splitting castle is called Takeshi-jo. Guns are about to blaze in battle for the castle. The $1 million fortress known as Takeshi-jo is owned by this man, Beat Takeshi. This man wants to claim the castle for himself is Hayato Tani. 100+ contestants from around the country have joined Tani's force. They will attack Takeshi's army in an advancing frenzy. They will face many a hard and surreal challenge, all in the hopes of conquering Takeshi's castle. Go forth, young force! Do your best! Or at least that's how the opening narration put it. Created by comedian Beat Takeshi, the late 80s game show featured a fictional army of contestants under the helm of Commander Hayato Tani. The contestants would go through a variety of physical challenges. Originally, the challenges were intended to mimic those an army might face whilst trying to progress to a fortress. Things like rope swings, bridges, cannon fodder were the norm. But as the show progressed, challenges became more and more surreal. Giant rolling pins, oversized pachinko machine, and video game obstacle courses took center stage. The goal was to survive these challenges and reach Takeshi's castle. There, the survivors would do battle against the titular Takeshi and his army of comedy disciples. The objective of this final battle was to storm the castle and defeat the evil Takeshi Kitano. In this fictional comical battle, the soldiers would often sacrifice themselves for the sake of defeating Takeshi. Like this guy, a construction worker named Minoru Kaneko, who was probably the biggest Takeshi's Castle fan of all time. Here he is in episode 1. And here he is in episode 2. And episode 6. And episode 8. Episode 13, 14, 19, 26, 35, 50, 78, 100, 104, 106, and 127. The final regular episode. And those are just episodes he was in that I have access to footage of. Minoru was so iconic he became somewhat of a fixture of the show. He competed in the final showdown 4 different occasions, including the on-foot, the water cart, and the laser cart versions of the final battle. But you came here to learn about the winners of this battle. How did someone win in the showdown? In order to win at the water gun version, one had to break Takeshi's paper ring before their own ring was broken. And in the laser gun version, one simply had to hit the sensor on Takeshi's cart before their own sensor was hit. This seemingly simple task was especially difficult during the water gun version of these battles, as Takeshi often used a water cannon to keep the odds in his favor. Also, another little known secret, his paper ring was coated in waterproof lacquer, but let's not let that fact slip. Despite this, some contestants did manage to break Takeshi's ring, like this man in episode 9, self-employed Seiji Chiba, who became the first person to ever break Takeshi's ring. This momentous occasion would make Chiba the show's first ever winner. Or was he? Upon inquiry, Chiba admitted that he had accidentally broken Takeshi's ring with his gun rather than the water from the gun. This was against the rules, and Chiba's win was declared void. But don't cry for Chiba. He was still a winner. How can he still be a winner? Well, we'll get to that later. How about first we show someone who did manage to beat Takeshi fair and square? Episode 31 featured the first occasion when a team of contestants managed to break Takeshi's ring, under the rules of the show. 6 of the surviving 10 contestants surrounded Takeshi's cart and all fired on him at once. Takeshi was hopeless as this barrage caused his paper ring to break. Victory was declared. Takeshi had finally been defeated. But who exactly fired the winning shot? I don't know. Because it was impossible to determine which contestant had fired the winning shot, all 10 contestants who had reached the final cart battle were declared winners and split the prize money evenly. The same thing occurred when the second and only other time Takeshi was defeated in the water gun version of the cart battle happened. It was impossible to tell who fired the winning shot, so all 14 players were declared winners. When the laser guns were implemented, then it could finally be determined who fired the winning shot. This event caused 6 different occasions when Takeshi's laser sensor was hit. The first ever occasion when this happened was the first time the laser gun version was ever played, episode 88, when Kazuhiro Otani managed to fire a winning shot. The next would occur in episode 99 when Toru Hatanaka managed to defeat Takeshi. If you'd like to learn more about Toru, listen to my interview I did with him last year. Check out the link in the description below. Episode 113, a parent-children episode, featured Koji Tada and his son Shinobu defeating Takeshi. Episode 118 featured Akira Sato. Episode 123, Kiyoki Suzuki managed to defeat Takeshi. And in episode 124, General Hayato Tani managed to fire the winning shot. Wait, isn't Tani the guy who heads the army? What happens when he fires the winning shot? Does he get like a pay increase for that week or something? When this event happened once and only once, Tani decided to relay his prize money to the surviving 6 contestants. So add up all those figures, you get 36, which is more than 12. Heck, it's more than 24. But believe it or not, those weren't the show's only winners. Every single episode of Takeshi's Castle featured at least one winner. But how can that possibly be? I just said that Takeshi was only defeated 8 times. Well, you didn't have to win in the final battle in order to win at the show. Due to the rarity of cart battle victories, the show had another facet which awarded prize money. Enter the Fighting Spirit Prize. The Fighting Spirit Prize was an award given to contestants deemed the best by production. Whether it was for being an entertaining figure, having a hellacious fall, being as pathetic as possible, or being the last survivor during the cart battle, the show always gave away at least one of these awards per week. Takeshi's Castle fixture Minoru Kaneko won a Fighting Spirit Prize. Seiji Chiba, whose win was disqualified, won a Fighting Spirit Prize. This lady won a Fighting Spirit Prize. This guy won a Fighting Spirit Prize. This person won a Fighting Spirit Award on 2 different occasions. This lady won 2 Fighting Spirit Prizes in the same episode. The Fighting Spirit Prize was such a big part of the series that for the program's 100th episode, 108 different Fighting Spirit Prize winners were invited back to compete. Despite recruiting the best former players, the final cart battle ended in a loss. But the last competitor standing, Seiichi Muto, a government worker, was declared the most valuable player and given an award of 1 million yen. But Seiichi wasn't the only one who would be given an honorary 1 million yen. In 1989, for the show's 2 final episodes titled Takeshi's Castle Final, clips of some of the most remembered Fighting Spirit Prize winners were shown in a big montage. At the end of the episode, a special prize was awarded entitled the Ultimate Fighting Spirit Prize. Intended for the greatest competitor the show ever had, the award went to 21-year-old Tetsuya Kato, or as he's known, Kianshi, making him one of over 300 different competitors to win a Fighting Spirit Prize. And there you have it, the truth about the winners on Takeshi's Castle. Next time someone tells you that more people have been to the moon, you can inform them that they are mistaken. Well, thank you for watching and putting up with my crappy video skills and my awkwardness on camera. If you have any questions about Takeshi's Castle or any other Japanese game shows, feel free to message me or comment in this video below. If you or someone you know was ever been on a Japanese game show, also please get in touch with me. I'd love to chat with you. And who knows, if this video gets enough positive reception, if any, which I suspect won't happen, but you never know. I might do more of these Takeshi's Castle history things, or do them for other Japanese game shows. But, anyway, Takeshi's Castle is the sole property of the Tokyo Broadcasting System. This video and the clips used were only intended for education purposes. No challenge of ownership is intended. And remember, it's hard to see the end when you're beginning.